Here are some improvements we've made in the Q1 release of Quiz Pro. First of all, you'll notice that the navigation menu on the left-hand side has had a complete overhaul. What's changed is we've gone from a flat list style UI to this hierarchical column-based UI. This should make it much easier to understand which questions belong to which sections and which answers belong to those questions. And it gives you a clearer view of which answer, question, or section you are currently working on in the editing pane. You'll see that when I click between sections, only the questions belonging to that section are shown in the questions column, and when I click on a question, only the answers belonging to that question are shown in the answer column. It's much more intuitive and much clearer to see what you're working on. The next improvement we've made is to the editing UI. So you'll see on the right hand side there's a big shiny new flow diagram, which allows us to get a high level overview of all of the sections, the flow between questions, how a user might navigate between the quiz or navigate through the quiz, which answers are going to lead to which follow-up questions, variables, conditional questions, etc. Things like this. So let's look at an example. If I want to edit the first section, I'm going to click this thing here, and it's going to select that first question and bring it into the editing pane where I can see a comprehensive view of all the fields that need changing. If I click on a question, the same thing happens. If I click on an answer, the same thing happens again. Something worth knowing is that these blocks here, we can describe them as nodes, and the lines that connect them we can describe as edges. So naturally you will see edges connecting questions together where there's no condition between them, or when a question has options, for example in a single or multi-select question, we can see an edge connecting the question to its options, and then the options are connected to the following question, again by edges. Something else worth noting is that we can also see the conditions that get set by an answer to a question. So, for example, this answer, yes, to do you have any allergies, sets the has allergies variable to true, as we can see down here. You will notice that when this is set to true, this orange edge shows us that the has allergies variable being set to true results in a question called allergy question being asked. If we click on that question, we can see the specifics of this. When has allergies is set to true, as is the case here, as denoted by this orange, then this question will conditionally appear. We can also see that this question, for example, is asked conditionally if hair length equals long hair, and we can see that this answer answers or sets this variable here when they answer hair length, which exists on the question level, not the answer level. The answer long hair sets hair length to long hair, and then we have this question asked conditionally. So very useful for understanding what can be very complex flows if you need that sort of thing. Then we can see the last question of a section leads naturally on to the next section. And in this case, it's a conditional section. So if allergies, what does that mean? Allergies is asked conditionally if the variable allergies is set to yes. And I believe the allergies variable is a top level variable, which we've set in the complex conditional calculator here, which I'm not going to show. I've shown in other videos, but I'm not going to show it here. If you right click a node, so a question node, you can add questions before and after. So if I add a question after, you will see all of the answers to that question linked to the next question. Nothing crazy or complex there. I can add a question before. Again, simple stuff. And I can delete questions as well. I can also add a section as well. So all of these answers are going to link to that next section. And I can delete that question, and I can delete the section. And you'll notice this is also auto-saving, which is something new we've brought in. The next thing I want to share is a richer preview experience. So previously, if you wanted to preview your quiz, it would be a somewhat manual process. You couldn't really see live changes as they're happening. Now, if you simply click the preview quiz button over there on the left hand side, excuse me, we bring up this nice pane where we can see a live preview of quizzes. You select a question, and a nice thing about this is that when you select a node for a question, it brings it up in the preview, so you don't have to navigate through the quiz itself as if you're a user, which can be a bit of a time drain. So you can just click on a question like that, and you can see it brought up live for you to see how it looks. Very useful, provided that you have the autosave feature turned on. If you don't, then this is going to show a stale version. This is a reflection of only what you've saved, but having autosave makes that nice and easy. The final thing worth sharing is improvements to our email Octopus integration. So in the previous version, we did have the same AI field mapping, which we still do have, but we've made some improvements to it. So the old version had only text available for email Octopus fields. Now we have improved this, and we've included the ability to use the other types that are available for fields in email Octopus, for example, single choice or multiple choice. And these are derived from the type of question that you have in Quiz Pro. So this being a choice single tells me that this question in Quiz Pro is probably a single choice question, which I know it is. Again, same thing for this. What length hair do you prefer? And choice multiple is derived from multi Quiz Pro style questions. We also have text for when it's a free text input. So that's an improvement. And the cool thing about this is that if the fields don't exist, they will be created. If they do exist already, then we can pull them through into Quiz Pro, which is what this notice on the right-hand side is here. What this is telling me is within Email Octopus, I may have this field created already, and I just need to be sure that the choices configured for the choice single style field in Email Octopus align to the options that come out of the quiz. If they don't, then there will be an issue. So that's just one thing to be aware of. So that's everything I wanted to share. That's everything that we've improved. Hopefully you can get some more value out of this.